Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and today I'm going to talk about family communication skills, the don'ts and then the do's. I like to always kind of like sandwich things. I'll start off really nice and then I'll throw in the and then I end it with the good stuff too, right? So give you this nice little upbeat intro and then we'll get into the things that we shouldn't do. I know I'm a fun killer. I've been told that so many times in my life that I understand. I'm there to keep us moving forward in a healthy direction, even when being unhealthy can be so much more appealing. But, all right, here it is. And I'm serious. These are things you do not want to do. These are proven over and over and over and over again. So, listen up. We don't want long lectures or sermons. Short, sweet, simple, to the point, clear, precise, measurable goals. Okay? All right. No blaming. No matter what that person did against you, you took some sort of action to engage. Okay? So instead of pointing fingers like the Spider-Man memes that they got out there going, right? Like, look at yourself. That's what we're doing here. So no blaming. You can't say you need to stop blank or it's all your fault. Radical acceptance. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. You don't think my family is out there saying all my dirty secrets? I've known all along, every step of the way. I'm like, yeah, my kids clocked that. They're going to say my mom's did this. Yeah, because we grow, we evolve, we change. And we are supposed to love each other through every season of life and help hold each other accountable. So I never said that I had the right answers. I've always told my family, my friends, the people I work with, the students, just because something that God tells me to do something doesn't mean he's telling you to copy me and do the same dang thing. God is letting me live authentically in my purpose as an example for you to live authentically in your purpose. I don't know what your purpose is. That's between you and God and the universe. I'm not in there. That's you. It's an inside job. But I can be the mirror outside of you that can reflect back what needs to be reflected back in the moment. And then I can hold you accountable with love, and I can take all that negativity that you send to me, I can alchemize it, transmute it, and send it out into the universe. But then I know that if you're not healing or if you're not attempting to heal, then I just have to shift to people who are. I can't keep filling holes in buckets. Like, I can't remember what it is. There's a Japanese art where they would, if a tea cup gets broken, and then they solder it back together but with gold, so it's even more solid after it's been broken. So even if someone cusses me out or hurts me or tries to kill me, I can find forgiveness in my heart and I can continue to help that person. Now, it's taken me a long time because there have been a lot of years, and I'm sure you can tell in my tone as it shifts that I'm still working through some of those issues. But when I'm working with my clients, I can take and separate personal, professional, and I have the track record that shows that I'm able to help you avoid blaming everybody else and blaming yourself. Okay, everybody wants to be like, oh, they made a mistake, or oh, they did that wrong, or oh, they used to believe that, now they don't, they must be lying. No, it's called growing up. Learning from new people. As new people enter your life, you learn more things, and then you change your belief system as needed with God's guidance. Okay. All right. Now I'm the one that's lecturing. All right. Number 3, don't have vague statements. Okay. So you're not going to say things like knock it off or I don't like that, because it's not enough information for the person that's receiving that information. That person receiving that information needs to know, what don't you like? Specifically, because they're not privy to what, they can't read your mind, even though you think they can. They can only guess. And in today's society, none of us that have gifts, that have purpose, that are wanting to make serious difference in people's lives for God and humanity, none of us have time to play these silly games. So, no vague statements. That's why people will say I'm blunt or I'm rude. I just don't want, if I know somebody is going to give me a whole social runaround, or they're going to try to get information out of me for free in a conversation which I already know I'm being baited in, well, they asked for it. Because I'm going to remove any obstacles between me and God and my purpose. But I'm not going to do that through any ill intent. I just leave it in God's hands, and then I keep moving forward. I keep studying, I keep learning, I keep growing like bamboo. Right now, my roots are growing deeper and deeper and deeper as I continue this journey of growth and evolution into becoming this billionaire, entrepreneur, public speaking, worldwide, life-changing speaker. And my family can doubt it. The community can somewhat kind of support it, but remember, Jesus wasn't seen in the people closest to him until he got out there into the world. And so I want to help the Star Seeds launch faster in God's timing, not on humanity's timing, because it's a matter of life and death for the planet. And the planet is a deity, whether you want to believe it or not, and she's tired of being raped. Okay, so more about what we don't want. We don't want poor listening. That means looking away, silent treatment, crossing your arms, and so forth. Believe me, we know by body language what you're trying to communicate. But we can't help you if you're not willing to uncross the arms, open up the heart, speak your truth, and let us address the wounds. If you're going to let them fester and you're going to round and scurry and you're going to gossip and you're going to talk behind people's back instead of coming directly to the person, then God's going to say, you know what, stop trying, walk away, go over here and help these people. They'll figure it out, and if they're meant to come back into your life, they will. If they're not meant to be in your life, then they won't. And that means even if you give birth to them, once they reach a certain age, they are no longer your children. So right now, technically, I'm not a mother. I have been a mother, but right now I have evolved into the stage of grandmother. That means my role as a female matriarch within my family lineage has changed. I am not here to just bake cookies for my loved ones. I'm also here to continue to help them evolve as a spiritual leader in the family. Some of those lessons are not pleasant. I had to put my own son into a group home because of behavior issues that I couldn't get addressed no matter what I was doing, and I provided all the supports that I could. So there's always many layers to a story, and my kids know that I love them even now, no matter what. My whole family knows that, but my kids in particular, and that's been used against me. My over-mothering, my over-nurturing, my kindness, my allowing too much. And God said, it's enough. So, we all have a mission, even our children. And I raised mine to understand that. And they're all doing theirs. And they are evolving. If you looked at their stories, ooh, amazing. Okay, getting off track. This evolution is not as easy as people think it is. So, we don't want to interrupt others. And this is something I've been very guilty of because, again, consciousness comes through fast. And the higher level consciousness people, it moves faster and faster and faster. And you're sitting there in meditation a lot trying to grasp this stuff and put it out into the world. That we don't have time for all the nonsense and the comparisons and the backstabbings. We don't have time for that. We're trying to take what God's given us, consciousness, put it out there, trying to network telepathically with other light workers so we can get in unison, so we can have massive impact around the globe. You think I care what people are spreading rumors? Try again. Okay, We are not checking to see if you really understand. People need to start asking questions in conversation. Too many conversations are so surface level. How you doing? What did you have for lunch today? Did you poop? Those are the type of conversations that I'm involved with all the time. All the time. Do I like being that role? Absolutely. Do I like that being my only role, and then I get also then, criticized, judged, condemned as I'm the nurse, a spiritual nurse? I actually consider myself to be like a 5D medic in the Holy War. You know how they have those paratrooper medics that are like the helicopter military guys that come in, they get parachuted down into like the heat of the battle and wound up the soldiers that have stepped on the landmines, and then they get like hoisted back up to the helicopter, and then they gotta go to the next spot. They don't get to stay there and bandage up the guys that are dying. They don't get to help take the bodies off the field. They go on to the next freaking job. Okay, that's what I do. Whether people like it or not. Okay, whether they believe it or not. God and I and my ancestors have been a powerful team for way longer than anybody realizes. So, back on track. No put downs. And again, I'm not trying to berate people. This is my military mom mode. We are at life and death of the soul and sometimes the body. So if I come across mean and harsh, it's because you're not making a decision that must be made. And I have been way too nice for way too long. And you're experiencing from me the mirror of reactionary abuse for you gaslighting that it's my fault when I have done everything to try to help you, and I don't want to be the martyr, or I don't want to make you feel guilty. But if you were a divine being, you wouldn't feel guilt. You wouldn't feel shame. You wouldn't feel remorse. You would take it as a lesson and learn. And then you would use God's compassion to then find within your heart that sense of remorse, because it's a soul thing before it's an outward thing. If you've already done the act, it was already in your psyche. And I'm here to help you get it from the root. Because if you don't get it from the root, it just keeps repeating. It keeps coming back and repeating and coming back. And I, for one, am sick of loops. I'm sick of watching loops. I'm sick of enabling loops. I'm sick of cutting loops. I'm sick of derailing loops. And then getting blamed like I'm the problem. So God and my ancestors gave me this LLC, which is legal, certified. I am a licensed educator since 1999. Been education my entire life. So I am qualified to provide education. If you don't like what I'm sharing, then this isn't for you. Ignore it, move on. It's okay. Then I'm not your help, okay? Because that's what I am. I am a humble servant of God, hands and feet servant of Christ. If you don't want that kind of help, keep it moving. I'm okay. You'll be okay. Because I know the universe loves each and every one of us so dang much. They will provide the help through another vessel somewhere else. It doesn't have to come from me. And I know that your soul growth and your internal healing is so much more important about what you think about me. I am just the messenger who loves you with a passion you can't even comprehend yet. But my goal is to help you get to that point where you can comprehend it, and then you could be fanatical like me, spreading love and joy. So, back on track. No yelling, screaming, and so forth. Now, some of us have had to learn this cycle so many times that we're sick of it. So we're no longer yelling. We're no longer screaming. We're no longer biting our tongue. What we're doing is we're just changing audiences. Instead of me running around Hades' playground saying, Jesus is real, come on, honey, let's get up to the 1%ers, let's help you evolve up in your divinity, let's get you your spiritual inheritance, and them all acting like I am on some sort of psychedelic drugs. No, that is not the case. Okay. And that leads me to the next one. No sarcasm. Dang it, sarcasm is so good though. Because when you're in this mood, when you're in this mode of like, I have told you 1,000 times to put down the toilet seat, then you have to learn like, oh my God. I'm getting that crazy over a toilet seat. I'm that crazy over, them spilling a gallon of paint on the new carpet in my brand new house. Maybe I did come unglued in times when I shouldn't, but that's been part of my evolution, which allows me to hopefully be a cheat sheet to help you nip it in the bud before it goes on for decades, okay? Mine has been a steady progressional incline, just like Jesus, just like Joseph, just like Mary. They all didn't start out doing God's work. They had at least the first 30 years probably learning the mistakes before they could go out into the people and help them with those mistakes. That's what shamans are. They have the wisdom of the ancients and they have the experience of hardships to help you. So yes, I am on a shamanic path. So anybody's like, oh my gosh, she's not a shaman. I said I'm on a shamanic path following my ancestral roots. Clarify your words. The message changes on what you say, when you say it, who you say it to, and how you say it. If you claim to be a communication expert, learn your craft before you go public. Okay? That's what I was trying to teach you guys. Learn it behind the scenes before you go on the road. Put your show on the road. Well, the audience is going to see through you. Do the healing work. I love you. Okay. Here we go. Going from topic to topic. See, I am not perfect. I am not some holy roller that's sitting on my throne going, you should be like me. No, you should be like you. And I should be like me. And we're all a little mad here. We're all trying to figure out everything that is in existence and how it all works and how it is all connected. And if we can help each other, damn it, start helping each other. All right, bringing up old issues, past behaviors. This is one of the things that I don't like about counseling. Counseling also helps reinforce loops when you don't have an enlightened, ascended, conscious being that is working with you. If you don't have someone that's got spiritual gifts to properly guide you, then they're going to keep reinforcing your 3D reality as it is. They're not going to be able to help you break that loop. They're actually getting paid. The system is making money off of your trauma by keeping you in a loop. Now, if your person is helping you be solution-minded and your whole focus, like if that therapist or that counselor says, okay, that's in the past, we're done, we're not talking, you've already told me that story, we're not repeating it again, then you're starting to change that loop. You're starting to change the psyche to break the loop. But if you're going and I had a friend who loved her counselor, but it was a paid best friend. She would go there and they'd collect the money and she'd have a great time and she would spill her guts and vent, but no healing was happening. No progress was being made and she was still suicidal, depressed, and self-medicating in many ways that were very unhealthy and leading to death. So, God's worked really hard on this vessel. And I am doing my best to be in alignment with what God wants me to do, regardless of who's standing in my way. Because God is a God of all things, and he will make the mountains low and he will make the valleys rise. So it's all about your faith. Faith over fear. Okay, what we should also not do is not match the verbal and nonverbal communications. So this is something that I had to unlearn because this was modeled religiously around me. Saying I love you while putting angry hands or violent hands on somebody. And I'm not the only one in my family who's experienced this, so I'm not going to sit here and air people's dirty laundry. Saying I love you while pounding your fist angrily on a table or punching a hole in drywall. That is abuse, whether you believe it or not. Screaming in a child's face and kicking them in the head while they're playing on the floor and then laughing and saying it's just a joke is abuse. Here's the other thing we're not going to do, and this is the one that I actually have mastered that people don't like that I mastered. What we're not going to do is keep feelings inside. I'm not pretending and covering up for anybody ever again. Ever. You put me in a position where it's either me or you. You know who it's going to be, and I've always said that, so you made me the enemy. And the difference between me and you is I want you to come back home. I want you to get right with God, so he lets you back into my life. I want you to be a protected child of God too, so we can continue to walk this walk together. But if you're not doing the work in the unseen, behind my back while I'm helping other people, God and the universe watch and course correct without me having to even be aware. So know to be careful when you speak about me, on me. Just, if you don't like what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, that's okay. But I'm not changing because you don't like it. I will change if I'm provided an education that alters my experience and my knowledge base, and my ancestors say, yeah, ding, that's a good one. Life is meant to be edited as we go. So, here we go. Another don't. Scowling, directing, antagonistic facial expressions towards others. Guilty. Because I start out like this. And when the abuse goes for years and years and then decades, and now we're at half a century. Half a century of abuse. So do you think I was scowling? Do you think I was probably having some facial features when it was beaten into me not to speak unless spoken to, but yet I had to be a man in a man's world? And then how can you be too masculine? You're supposed to be feminine, and you're supposed to be looking for a husband, but you're also supposed to be this alpha woman who I don't need a man, hear me roar. Yeah, I've had all the programming. So do I look like I'm in my full divinity right now? No. Do I look a little unhinged? Yes. But do I speak truth? Yes. So, the last don't. This is why I created the whole 7 steps to getting on the same page blueprint. It was to get spiritual people and religious people on the same damn page. Okay? That's the real goal here. Because we're all in this together, right? We're all in this together. So yes, I act like life is a big freaking musical, and I'll break out in song and dance, and I will be silly, and I'll pass out candy like I'm having my own little ticket tape parade like Pippi Longstocking. Because if I don't enjoy life, people around me don't enjoy life. And the only way to enjoy life is to make joy. bring the joy. And I like being goofy, but I can also lead. And that's been proven time and time and time again. Because even the people who hate me respect me. They can say she's a bitch, but she gets the job done and she gives God all the credit. So, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, I don't care. Because the last one is we don't mind read, okay? You don't assume, because we all know what the word assume means, and if you don't, look it up in the dictionary and see how it's spelled, and then break it apart into littler words, and you'll see it pop out real quick. Because assuming you know what other people think is the fastest way for the devil to get inside. And a home divided cannot stand. It is destined to fall. And only the people with eyes to see and the ears to hear will know how to stay safe when Satan is all around. I give the tools. Whether or not you use them is on you. I'm a teacher. I don't do the work for you. I assist you. And yes, I have enabled way too many people because I love them too much. Hence, why I'm healing and cauterizing my own heart. Because I don't want to see my family die. And if it means me having to be publicly humiliated to prove that I want them to love themselves enough to live. That's why I'm doing this. I started the social media not for public recognition. I started it because my family wouldn't listen. So you want to stalk, you want to copy, you want to pretend. Well, at least do it right. Not this programmed crap. Okay. Whew. See, we're all at different stages of evolution, and you never know what's going on in someone's home. I'm only revealing myself because God said to. Here are the do's, okay? So that's enough of the don'ts. The do's. We want to use brief statements of 10 words or less. I have learned to shut up. And it's not been easy. And believe me, I'm still biting my tongue and you can feel it in the energy. Okay? That's why I keep my distance. It's out of respect for everybody involved and for my peace. Next, use I statements. Not she did this, so I did that. That is childish and an excuse and a deflect and a blame tactic. It's gaslighting, it's manipulation, and it's of the devil. I feel angry when my blessings are blocked by the people I love. See, truth wrapped in love and expressing my feelings authentically. I take responsibility for my own actions because the anger and the frustration I feel isn't really you. It's me, because I should have ended things a lot sooner. So this anger is mine. You don't get to claim it. You don't get to say she's angry because I did that, or because she doesn't know it, but I secretly got her evicted from her apartment. I've had my family do that to me. I've had my ex-husband do that to me, all for their own gain. My ex-husband even told me to my face, yeah, I want to get you evicted so that way I can tell the courts you're an unfit mother and then I can get the kids and then I don't have to pay you child support. So you need to get everybody's side of the story before you go public, okay? Because some of us are actually doing the healing work. We're not putting on a mask, pointing fingers, and pretending. Because people can see it anyway. They can feel it in the damn energy. So, you wanted me to do these videos? You got them. I'll do these videos because the people that I'm going to be working with will understand my story. Because my story is going to be used for God's glory, not a man's glory, not my family's glory, not my children's glory, not my grandchildren's glory, not even my animals' glory. It is God's glory because God is in control of everything. Everything. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. It is all God, whether you want to believe me or not. So, do's. I'm still learning to do with the people closest to me. I can do it with the professional world. But the people closest to me, we've had to have safe boundaries. Not because I will hurt them, but because I love them enough to push them out of their damn comfort zones and make them look in a mirror of truth. Okay. Do's. Use direct and specific statements. I think I'm pretty good at mastering that one. Stop trying to kill your sister. That's a pretty clear directive. It doesn't mean get sneakier. It doesn't mean start doing it telepathically and get harder for the world to see what you're doing maniacally behind the scenes. I love you guys, but if you're going to try to call me out on my crap, then I'll call you out on yours. Because you want to sit on and get a disability check when you could be writing a book. You could be writing a screenplay. There's a lot you could be doing that would help people. But again, broken systems can be used for good. I feel sorry for the people that don't even have broken systems. Be grateful. That's the lesson, children. Be grateful. Because what God giveth, he can take it away in a heartbeat. I could be gone 5 minutes from now. And I need to know that this world is a better place before I go. So, use direct and specific statements, not only for them, but for yourself. Because watching your family self-destruct and die is not only hard on me, it is hard on my tribe. So we're going to bond together and we're going to get through this evolution. We didn't create the fire, and we're going to try to put it out with love. We're not returning it with more hate, deceit. There's not just one crown. We all have a crown. Okay, the do's. I'm recording. Actively listen with good eye contact, leaning forward, nodding, and so forth. Engage in the conversations. Let each person completely state his or her thoughts before stating your own. There are too many people that are only listening to respond, to get back, to defend, deflect. That's not listening. Give feedback, paraphrase, restate what the other person said to you. And that's part of the 7 steps to getting on the same page blueprint that I have created that will help you and your family because it's worked with others. And believe it or not, mine has evolved immensely. So I don't want to just, make it sound like we're at odds. We do love each other. But remember that whole loyalty over love. I am loyal to them, but on a spiritual warrior sense. So I'm always double checking to make sure that I understand what the other person is really going through, what they're really feeling, and that I am not just assuming anything. I will use every resource to make sure that we've reflected so deeply on something before we take action, because I've made mistakes of jumping on landmines based on what my family told me or what my friends told me or what doctors told me or what therapists told me. So I've jumped on those landmines. You don't have to. You can schedule a free consultation at holman.consulting@gmail.com so we can talk about your situation and how I can help. Okay? We want to be constructive. I'm concerned about your grades. Okay? You're taking your feeling and you're turning it into compassion and understanding. Something is bothering me. Can we discuss it? You're the adult. You're the leader. You create the environment, not the child, not the employee. You create the system within your home. You create the system within your business. It's up to you to alter it as needed. And that's an evolution. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to want someone who can mentor you and coach you on behavior and communication that's going to let you do that in a safe zone where I'm not going to beat you up over it. I really am not. Use a neutral, natural tone of voice. This is how I usually am. Okay? You'll get excited, Becky, when we're in certain situations. You'll get military mom in certain situations. You'll get this instructor voice most of the time, which comes across very robotic. I've been told that I'm a Pez dispenser of information or a Pez dispenser of healing. And maybe that's a great way of looking at it. I don't know, right? I try to teach people to try to find joy in unpleasant situations, and that is not a skill that someone can just go read a book or get a degree. God has to actually gift you through hardships in order to do what I do. So when people say, oh, I don't know why she can't just, lower her prices. No, I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and lifetimes and the pain and the sweat, and God has collected every tear. And I'm collecting on that now. I kept telling God, hold on to my inheritance until I'm spiritually ready. Until I'm ready, Lord, hold on to it, because I know the sharks around me, they see me as food right now. So I'm still in my growing phase, and God blesses me little by little as I continue to heal, as I continue to work, and as I continue to walk on my path. I'm not expecting an overnight overflood of like, oh my gosh. No, it's the journey. I'm trying to enjoy the climb. I'm not trying to yank down the other climbers. See, oh, I'm up further than you. It's like a game of chutes and ladders, where people can make you slide down a slide and you have to kind of start over again, or someone could give you a hand up and lift you up the ladder. Well, I'm your ladder. I'm never going to be your chute. Okay? Unless you need it. And then you paid for it, so then you asked for it. All right, so then we say what you mean and be specific and straightforward. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I am somebody's shot of double whiskey, okay? And when you are in a bad situation and you're dealing with situations that feel like life and death or are life and death, where you have to decide if an elderly person, continues on life support, that's not something you could just talk with anybody, and you don't really want to confide in too many people, because you know how the rumor mill goes, then you've plotted their death or something ridiculous. So you have to, say what you mean, be specific, and be straightforward, because anytime you have any leeway for them to say that you lied on this, well, then now you're a liar. Now, can you say, oh, I used to believe that, and then I learned this from this person, and so now I changed that belief? Well, that's not lying. That's growing up. That's evolving. That's learning. That is the process of life. Okay, so we're going to stay on one topic. Now, me and my tribe, we like to ramble, and so I will put timers, and I will be more restricted in our sessions, because it is a business and we do want to stay on topic, and I want to make sure that you move forward successfully, and I want to make sure that I give you tools and I don't rant and ramble and you don't get excited and we're just like hen clutching. Or hen clucking, or whatever they call that. We're going to stay on topic. I'm going to keep you focused. It is going to be more business-like in tone. Most of the time it's just going to kind of be like this. Sometimes when you give me something excited, then I'll reflect back the excitement. If you tell me something sad, I'm going to reflect back sad. it's just going to be an easy flowing conversation of health, help, wisdom, wealth. Okay? Because as you heal with me, it helps heal your auric field, which then helps bring in your spiritual inheritance even faster. So we all win. And I also have on here is that we want to focus on the here and now. And even myself through this whole building process, okay, it's taken me 2 years to get through this to this point in my healing stages, right after my spiritual awakening. I mean, I've multiple spiritual awakenings, and each layer clears off another layer of debris of like film off of my rose colored glasses, right? Well, I don't want to lose that part of me. I'm just changing my audience. So hopefully you're getting these videos out there by sharing, subscribing, notification bell, so that way my tribe can have access to the help that I can offer. And the last thing I have on here is that we want to match the verbal and the nonverbal communication. So when you say I love you, make sure you're doing an action that demonstrates that you love that person. Don't make it confusing where you are weaponizing love and you're weaponizing communication and you're weaponizing affection, because those are abuse. We want to express our feelings to others appropriately. And again, that's a learning curve. That's a process. You only know what you know, and you can't change unless you grow. So, and, I always try to remind people that pain only becomes part of your personality if you allow it to. If you live intentionally, like I said, like a director of a movie, and you're going, no, you're done with my story, you're out. I like you. I'm going to give you more playtime in this season of my story. Like, if you really start looking at life that way, you're going to feel more comfortable expressing your feelings appropriately, because you don't have to shout, you don't have to get ugly, you don't have to put, yourself through such an emotional abuse that, you end up 330 pounds because you hate yourself so much, because it's really the people around you constantly abusing you. But we are healing, we are healthier now, we are moving forward, and we are blessed by God, and we want to stop thinking more about the past, and we really don't want to spend too much time in the future, because I can get lost in future faking, I think is what they call that, or daydreaming, and be like, oh yeah, if I did that, then this could happen, and then that can happen, and then, well, that might happen. And you can get lost for days, and some people get lost their whole life not activating, and they just kept the consciousness stream flowing right here. Maybe in their neighborhood a little bit, but they never really fully activated to shine like a dang beacon of light, right? Well, I want to try to amplify whatever light is inside you. I want to stoke that, and I want to breathe it, and I want to breathe life back into dry bones. That's what I'm doing here. We're going to use appropriate facial expressions towards others. And again, I don't know what that word appropriate means, but I do have degrees, and I've done many courses, and I've been taught what they say is socially acceptable. Because appropriate, everybody's living in their own little universe. So I can't tell you what's appropriate in your universe. I can tell you what's appropriate universally by the laws of physics and the universe and God and everything. I can tell you those, but your specific religion or your specific family's belief systems, when I'm walking in, you guys half the time think I already know all the background information, and I'm coming in cold turkey blind, like I only know what you tell me. Because I listen to the guys, but I go by what you're saying. I'm not going to read minds. Do I know because I'm that strong of an empath? Yeah. But am I going to do the heavy lifting for you? No. You have to use your 3D communication mode, whatever it is. And I'm pretty flexible. You want to text me an emoji to let me know you're still alive? That's all you got to do. Because a lot of the clients that I work with are high suicide rate or homicide potentials that don't want to tell anybody because they are ticking time bombs who have learned how to mask so well that people are like, oh, I never knew that person was a mass murderer. Well, it's because you didn't have your spiritual gifts activated. So here's my business card. let's work together. I'll help you activate your spiritual gifts and sharpen them, and then you'll be able to tell who is future faking and who is not too. And you will know how to maneuver, and they say manipulation, but it's not manipulation when it's defense from the unseen moves. But what they forget is the unseen, whatever is done in the dark always comes to the light. And there are receipts, there are paper trails, there are tracks, there are digital recordings of everything you ever do your entire life. So you're like, oh my God, they're tracking us. They've always been tracking you. Spoiler alert. Okay. Use the appropriate facial expressions. Me personally, I just go with what flows. If my face looks like a bug-eyed, I can't help it. I harassed my poor daughter about her bug eyes because she would get excited and her eyes would get really big, and then everybody would mock her or make fun of her, and then she'd feel self-conscious, and then it would be this huge thing, and then she'd have some episode and we'd have to go to therapy, and all because of her eyes being too wide and excitement, and then me trying to tell her to mask. Whew. I don't want these children to become robots that are paid slaves to live in poverty as servants, which is what is happening. So, the systems are broken, and I'm trying to help wherever I can, whenever I can. And I appreciate any help because right now, I could use the help. And I know it's out there, so please, right now all of my devices and everything's been hacked, and like I can't even get my mail. I don't even know where my mail's going, and I'm keeping moving so that way, I mean, they're tracking me obviously. So some people know where I'm at, but the people that want to harm me, God keeps moving me so you can't find me and get me. So you might as well just stop. It's quite annoying at this point. We have really listen to others' point of view. Ask questions to make sure that you understand. I'm not saying that I'm not under, spiritual attack. I know I am. I know that I'm not at 100% yet, and yet I'm still trying to build. That's because no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save me. Okay, I'm jumping around here like, a spiritual medic, not getting paid because, the churches teach women to do that for free because we're just supposed to be humble servants of God all the time, no matter where we're at. Programming. I mean, it's not wrong, but it is wrong because we are supposed to be getting paid. The systems, the organizations, the patriarchy have been stealing our blessings, and it's spiritual inheritance as well. People know how to tap into your sacral chakras using sexual energy that I wasn't even freaking aware of until very, very recently. So the things that people want to say that I've done, let's go look at the Akashic records on who was manipulating this vessel in the moment. Because if I was a child, I wasn't having sexual urges. So go ahead, keep trying to blame the victim, who is not a victim, because I don't give you that power. I'm a victor in the Hunger Games, baby. And if you want that same victory to overcome the demons in flesh that have been playing in your face for way too long, reach out so we can have that conversation. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end this here because I need to go have some tea and I need to go take a walk. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, plant medicine. I have quit smoking marijuana, so PSA. When I talk about plant medicine, I'm talking about saging, I'm talking about Palo Santo, but I'm also talking about is hape, and hape it's a snuff that goes up your nose, but it is not cannabis, it is not cocaine, it is nothing illegal substance. So if you would like more information on hape and how the hape works, because you put this inside your nose and you blow in it, I can teach you. It's not a drug. But for religious people who don't understand shamanistic rituals of purifying the pineal gland and decalcifying the damage that's being done to me in order for me to continue to do God's work of helping people, that's okay that you don't have that wisdom and that insight and that knowledge. I'm not shaming you for having religious dogma. I'm shaming you for is don't shame me for sinning differently than you. We're all learning, and I'm still a work in progress, and I admit that openly, wholeheartedly, every step of the way. Every person I've ever helped, they'll tell you I'm honest to a fault. So if you want that kind of help, who has the resources, who's been through it all, who's talked with the experts, who still has them on speed dial, reach on out. I'll talk with you later. You can also text me at 219-252-1972. I look forward to talking with you in my next video. Have a great day.